could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain that's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession, all in his possession. You got their attention, I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they see me. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race, life is a chase. I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds, they can stay soft. You can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life, better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss, just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain that's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession, all in his possession. You got their attention, I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they see me. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race, life is a chase. I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated.
What up, what up, what up? Good morning, Finn fans. Welcome to another episode of the Finn Posse Podcast. I'm your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. How's everybody doing this morning? Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up, Damien? What's up, Timothy? How's everybody doing this morning? So yeah, more stuff with Tyreek Hill. I hate to keep bringing it up. There's rumors out there that he got Wes Walker fired. Listen, people like to pile on things when someone has issues. People like to pile things on, you know what I mean? And I just feel like everybody's trying to pile as much stuff on Tyreek Hill as possible. And to be honest, Tyreek doesn't need help from the outside with creating controversy. He does enough on his own. Do I think that Tyreek Hill got Wes Walker fired? No, I don't think he did. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't believe necessarily that Tyreek was the one that was always late to meetings and this and that. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to know what to believe because you want to believe that Tyreek Hill. You believe the stuff about Tyreek because he puts himself in such bad situations, but you also know he's a ultra competitor when it comes to the field. And so it's hard to know what to believe. I don't know why Wes Walker was fired, but I don't believe it's because Tyreek Hill went to Mike McDaniel and was like and cried and complained about Wes Walker. I just don't see that happening. I don't believe that's what the case was. But I mean, we're going to continue to hear the Tyreek rumblings all the way until the first game of the season. A lot of beat writers for the Miami Dolphins they're on the same page as I am. Would they be open to a Tyreek trade if the compensation met what the player's value was? Sure. But it just doesn't make sense from a financial standpoint to move on from him. It just doesn't. The team's not better without him, so it doesn't financially make sense to move on from him. Now, if Mike McDaniel lost this locker room, that's debatable. Could Mike McDaniel lose the locker room further by not putting an end to the Tyreek Hill situations? Sure. But let's not forget that Mike McDaniel could also lose the locker room by trading the best player on the team. You know what I mean? And then I'm constantly hearing that they have Jalen Waddle. They got Jalen Waddle. Again, Jalen Waddle is not a top tier wide receiver. And that might hurt a lot of people's feelings. People have been fans of Jalen Waddle. I am a fan of Jalen Waddle. But Jalen Waddle is not a true number one wide receiver. He's just not. Damien, the O-line, I think it is Patrick McCarry. Is that who you're talking about? Patrick McCarry? Patrick McCarry, offensive lineman. Yeah, Patrick McCarry. Yeah, I agree. Jalen Waddle is a good receiver. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Jalen Waddle fan. I am. He's just not that dude. You can't tell me he can take Tyreek Hill's spot. Now, Jalen Waddle has value. He has value to this team, but he has value as a number 2 receiver. A very good number 2 receiver. But he's not that dude. Teams don't fear Jalen Waddle. Teams do not fear Jalen Waddle. So ESPN did contract projections for the offensive side of the football. I just concentrated on the offensive line because that's where our big area of need is. And there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is that there's absolutely no way we're going to get the big fish in the sea this offseason. There's no way. Now, even though Miami is listed as a potential suitor for Trey Smith, it's just no way that there's no way that we can logically make this happen. There's no way, folks. There's no way we can logically go out and get Trey Smith. Not with as many holes that we have on this roster, not with our current cap situation. I mean, Chris Greer is going to have to work wonders just to make any type of moves, let alone going out and getting someone that is going to be as expensive as Trey Smith is. It's just not logical. It doesn't make sense. I mean, is it it'd be a very Chris Greer thing to do because it's a splashy name, a big time target, but there is a better usage of our money. Now, don't get me wrong. Trey Smith is a dog. He's by far the best available. But I just can't see us going and spending that type of money on a player that is just one player. It's just one player, and we have a bunch of holes on this team. We have a bunch of holes on this team, and we cannot afford to go out there and throw the type of money that ESPN's projecting to Trey Smith. ESPN is projecting Trey Smith to sign a contract with an annual value of $24 million. $24 million. They're projecting of either a 4-year $96 million or a 5-year $120 million. Mind you, we let Robert Hunt walk for $20 million a year. We let Robert Hunt walk for $20 million a year. You telling me the very next year we're going to go throw an extra $4 million per season to Trey Smith? Now you could argue whether Trey Smith is better than Robert Hunt, which I would probably say that he is. But still, $24 million a year. There's just no way that we can justify doing that. There's no way. Free agency is just 2 weeks away. We got to do something about that cap space. I mean, he's gonna do it. I mean, he's gonna take care of it. I have no worries about that. He's gonna take care of that. There's no over rush to do it as long as it's available by time the legal tampering period opens. He'll handle his business. He'll figure it out. Trey Smith, $24 million a year. They're looking at a 4-year, $96 million, 5-year, $120 million deal. Do you pursue that? If you're the Miami Dolphins, do you go and try to get the big fish in the sea? Do you try to go get the number 1 rated offensive guard in football? Is that the move you make if you're the Miami Dolphins? And to me, that's the bad news. I was hoping that maybe Trey Smith was projected lower than that, maybe a $18, $19 million a year projection, where at least maybe we'd have an opportunity if we really wanted to press things. But at $24 million a year, I just think that we can't be a player in that ball game. We can't be a player in that ball game, especially when you got teams like the Chicago Bears, the New England Patriots that are desperate for offensive linemen, and they have so much more cap space than we do. We can't get in a bidding war with them guys. Sorry, my back is killing me. I went to the gym last night and my shit is on fire. Ugh. Yeah, I That's the bad news. That's the bad news of this video. That we're out on Trey Smith, in my opinion. I think we're out on Trey Smith. But then there was some good news because ESPN also projected some very good, very capable starting offensive linemen to be anywhere between $8 and $15 million. Anywhere between 8 and 15 million annually. And that's something we can work with. That's something we can work with. So ESPN got these projections. They got Aaron Banks, offensive lineman. Aaron Banks from the 49ers. They got him projected at a 2-year. I can't even read my own writing. I want to say that's 2-year, $23 million deal. 2 years, $23 million. That's not. We can make that happen. 2-year, $23 million. That's less than $12 million a year. Just under $12 million a year. We could make that happen. Now, would we like some on a little bit of a lower end? Yeah, but if we can get someone we can plug and play right away that we know is a good starter, we can go and get him for $23.5 million for 2-year deal. No need to even do that. Just trade down and pick up and plug him in at right guard. You have a guy that can swing the right tackle if Jackson goes down. Bring back Wynn and put him back at left guard. Yes, Sackman 56. I like the idea of bringing Wynn back, but not as a starter. I would like to bring Wynn back as depth. I think that we should add one in free agency, and we should add one in the draft, absolutely. I'd like to see us, in a perfect world, I'd like to see us trade down in the first. Maybe to somewhere where we can still get one of the top offensive guards. So maybe 24, 23, 24, somewhere in that area. Hopefully that would pick us up an extra second-round pick. Hopefully we could pick up an extra second round with that. Then we could go guard in the first round. With that extra second round, we could get a safety, and with our second rounder, get a defensive tackle or a corner. It just depends how the draft falls. It depends on what we do in free agency. I mean, there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle that need to drop. I mean, we can sit here and predict all day what we can do and what we should do, but until some of these key puzzle pieces start getting put into place, it's hard to predict. It's hard to know what direction the team's going to go in. I got you trading down and getting an extra second round pick would be a great scenario. Yeah, absolutely, right? I think that's the best case scenario for us, because I think we can agree that picking a guard at 13 is a little bit of a reach. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of a reach, but there's a bunch of quality guards in this draft. One of the deepest positions in all of this draft. So if you can trade down to the mid-20s and pick up an extra second round pick, and then you can fill 3 positions of need in the first 2 rounds. And then your third and fourth rounds can be almost best player available, still plug other areas of needs. I think that would just be a great scenario for us. hopefully there's a bunch of buyers trying to move up. Hopefully someone's trying to get up to get a Jackson Dart, or someone's trying to get up. Who knows? Who knows who's trying to move up to get somebody? Maybe I don't know. Maybe someone has their heart set on a certain player and they want to move up and they're willing to throw a bunch of picks our way. That would be best case scenario. I'm not a fan of adding late round picks, but if we can add some more early round picks, I'm absolutely for it. 100%. 100%. So yeah, Aaron Banks projected 2 years, $23.5 million. That's affordable. That's something that you could do. Another guard that is a very capable starting guard is Will Hernandez. They got him projected at a 2 year, $23.5 million deal. Again, under $12 million a year. So right there, you could have signed Aaron Banks and Will Hernandez for the same amount of money that it would cost you to get Trey Smith. Now, both those players are not Trey Smith, but I would take two good offensive linemen over a great offensive lineman any day. We have two holes. Take a defensive player and want a first round. Man, I feel you, Michael. I do. I just feel like there was times that this offense looked really ugly because of us not being able to run the football. I think that we can get the kid from Kentucky in the second round for the defensive line. If we had an extra second round pick, you're liable to get a top safety still and a top defensive tackle. What's his name? Deion Walker. Is that the kid from Kentucky, the defensive tackle, who's a big old beast of a man? I'd be cool with that. I just feel like offensive line is by far our biggest need. Now, who knows? Maybe we go out and we get two of these. Maybe we go out and we get two of these guards in free agency, and then absolutely, I would still draft a guard later in the draft. But if we take two of these guards in free agency, absolutely that changes who I take in the first round. If I fill the holes on the offensive line through free agency, I can't take an offensive lineman in the first round. Man, I would love to have Becton on this offensive line, but too bad this organization is in cap hell. Listen, they'll have enough money to get Becton, but Becton, there's a good chance of re-signing with Philly. Damien, Damien, did you say that Becton looks like he's re-signing with Philly? Because, that makes sense. Who do you like in the first round as far as offense or defense? There's a couple people that I like on the defensive side of the ball. I like Nolan. I think Nolan out of Ole Miss is a beast. I like Nolan out of Ole Miss. I like Zabel on the offensive line that we can get a little bit lower. I like Banks for the offensive line. I like Malachi Starks. I like Emma Worry, the other safety. Let's not forget we need another starting corner too. But let's not forget that that's a possibility. Let's not forget that it's a real possibility that the top corner, well, the second best corner, because Travis Hunter is technically a corner, could fall to us in this draft. What's his name? Will Johnson? Yeah, Damian. Will Johnson from Michigan. I think there's a real possibility that Will Johnson could fall to us. If Will Johnson's there at 13, do you take him? Because I've seen a lot of drafts that he was taken in the first 7. Yeah, I mean, Chris Greer's going to have to. He's going to have to get on the ball here soon. It really depends on how much cap space he makes available for us. It's going to be a beautiful thing once free agency gets here in about 2 weeks. We can really get into what this team's going to look like. And after that first week of free agency, we're going to know what we're going to be targeting in the draft. For the most part. For the most part, we should know. It'll be nice when we can really start putting this team together realistically instead of just having a million different guesses coming from all different directions. Because that's what we're doing right now. You know, we're trying to project a million different things happening down the road. You try to make predictions who we're going to sign a free agency so you can better project who you can mock to us in a draft. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's go back to ESPN's list. So Aaron Banks, 2 years, $23.5 million. You got Will Hernandez, 2 years, $23.5 million. They got Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton's still a very young player, really promising a guard. He was drafted as a tackle. He just didn't pan out as a tackle for the New York Jets. They moved on from him. Philadelphia picked him up, moved him over to guard. He played really good last year. Helped lead him to a Super Bowl title. He's still super young. ESPN's projecting a 4-year, $44 million a year deal. We could absolutely make the cap space happen for that. We could absolutely make that happen, folks. But again, if the Eagles would be fools to let a young, talented beast of a player like that walk out the door, and it sounds like they're going to try to bring him back. Yeah, but 4 year, $44 million. That's $11 million a year, folks. We can come up with that. That'd be a win for us. That'd be a win for us. The big board will change after the combine. Someone will rise, some will fall. Absolutely, Elwood. Absolutely. I want Stewart first round, second round. See, I seen TD take Stewart in his mock draft. I think that is no offense, Damian. I think that is not a smart move. If there's 2 positions on this team that we could have we have holes in most positions. We could use players in most positions on this team. But if there's 2 positions on this team that I feel like we're probably good at, it's probably tackle, offensive tackle, and a pass rusher. Because you have the opportunity to bring Chubb back. You got Jalen Phillips. You got Chop Robinson. So you're gonna use a first round pick on another pass rusher? I don't like that pick, Damian. I'm sorry. I seen TD take him in his mock draft, and I thought it was not a very I love TD to death, but I didn't think it was a very smart pick on his part. Not when you have so many holes, so many other places. You don't take a player that you have that you're good at that position. That's a luxury pick. Stewart would be a luxury pick. How do you justify taking Stewart when you have so many holes in this team? I just can't see it. I mean, is the rest of the chat in agreement? Like, do you feel that's a luxury pick? Stewart is a luxury. He's a pass rusher. He's a outside linebacking pass rusher type. And I feel like if we bring Chubb back, if Jalen Waddle comes back, or not Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, along with Chop Robinson, I just don't like that pick. I don't. Not when we have so many other areas to fill. We just have too many other areas to fill. To me, Mekhi Becton on the offensive line would be a no-brainer. That's who I would target. Mekhi Becton. He's a young player. He could be here for years. He continued to get better at the position since he just moved there last year. He's going to continue to get better at the guard position as he continues to transfer from being a left tackle or offensive tackle at that to being a guard. I just think he's going to get better. He's got ideal size. I like Mekhi Becton a lot. Another guy that the ESPN rankings, Kevin Zeitler, if that's how you say his name, Detroit Lions guard. They got him at a 2-year, $24 million. That's $12 million a year. Listen, he's a very good guard. Detroit had one of the best offensive lines in all of football last year. I would absolutely be great with Kevin. Again, I'd like to get younger. That way we don't have to replace these guys in a year or two. Maybe they can grow with this team. They can continue to get better. But he's a seasoned vet. He'd be good. You could plug him in right away, and he would improve this offensive line. He would improve this offensive line. What about if Hunter is still there? You think we take him? Well, yeah. I mean, if he was still there, you would take him. There's no chance he will be. There's no chance that he will be, but you absolutely take him. What about if Hunter is still there, or we trade up for him? I don't think there's a scenario that we trade up for him. I don't. That's too much. We have too many holes, and it's going to take too much to trade up to get a Travis Hunter. It would take too much to trade up to get Travis Hunter, in my opinion. And to be honest, I don't like the fact that he has his heart set on playing both sides of the ball. I just think he's asking to get injured. I think he's asking to get injured, and it'd be one thing if he was just coming out as a corner prospect and he was strictly going to play corner. But he has his heart set on playing both sides of the ball, and I think that's going to lead to bad things for him. The D line is stacked up in the draft. Can you get good players in the 3rd and 4th round? I mean, I think you can. There's a couple people that even undrafted players, like there's this one guy named Thor. Man, I have his information wrote down somewhere, but his grading and what scouts say about him, he's an absolute beast. I think you can find a starting defensive tackle in the later rounds. Guys that I call space eaters. If you can get a big, huge, physically strong guy that can take up space and demands double teams, yeah, you can find those in the later rounds. You can find it's not, the pass rushers are something that you have to, that takes a certain skill set, and those typically go first. But as far as being a space eater, as far as taking up space and just, you know, making two people have to pay attention to you on their offensive line. Yeah, you can find those in the later rounds. I want Landon Jackson from Arkansas. That's a pass rusher that we can use. He wouldn't cost a first round pick either. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that we shouldn't add another pass rusher. I just don't think we should use one of our premium picks. We have holes on this team that need to be filled, and we're not going to fill them all in free agency. I'd love to be able to go into this draft and be like, all right, let's go get a bunch of luxury picks. Let's go get some picks that the sexy picks, you know what I mean? But that's not the position we're in right now. That's not the position we're in right now. But yeah, I would love for us to get Calais Campbell back. I don't know how far that's going to get us. We would still have to add a defensive tackle, but we shall see. We shall see. But yeah, Kevin Zeitler, 2-year, $24 million. Then you got Patrick McCarry, the offensive lineman for the Baltimore Ravens. I seen where he was ranked as one of the most versatile offensive linemen in all the NFL. So he'd be a real nice pickup. I seen they're projecting him at 3 years, $32 million. Again, any two of these, any combination of two of these guys, we can get for the same price it would cost us to get Trey Smith by himself. That's why we can't go out and go get Trey Smith. We can bring in two quality starters that can come in and start for us right away. That can come in and turn this offensive line into a top 12, top 10 unit instead of adding Trey Smith for $24 million a year, and then it still leaves you with an open hole on the offensive line. Yeah, we could sign Trey Smith and plug in Isaiah Wynn. But then what happens if one of those guys go down? We have no depth. That's why I'd like Isaiah Wynn to come back, but I'd like to have him come back on the bench. Because Isaiah Wynn can play most positions on the offensive line. He can play tackle. He can play both guards. He's a valuable asset. I definitely bring him back, but not as a starter. And then you got Will Fries. They got him at a projection 4-year, $48 million. Again, that's $12 million a year. Will Fries is an up and coming guard. He's still super young. He progressively got better. He dealt with a couple injuries last year, but he'll be back fully healthy this year. If I had my way, the two guards that I'd go, the direction that I would go on this in addressing our offensive line is I would sign Will Fries and Mekhi Becton. Will Fries and Mekhi Becton, they're two young players that can continue to get better. They'll solidify this offensive line for the next 4 to 6 years. You won't have to worry about it. It turns us into a top 12 to top 10 unit. I like those two guys to be brought in free agency. And we can get them for what, 12 plus 11, $23 million a year total. That's still $1 million less than Trey Smith a year. The Giants said they want to trade down. You like Aaron Banks from San Francisco? Yeah, I mean, he's available. He's definitely on this list. Aaron Banks definitely on this list. Pick 13 has to be a day one starter and contribute every play one way or another. I agree. I agree. Stewart's not that person. Stewart's not that person. I was very surprised when TD took Stewart in his mock draft. I mean, Stewart was projected to be there in the beginning of the 20s, and TD took him at 13. And players like Will Johnson were on the board, and I was like, that's crazy. That's crazy. You'd bypass our need at corner to go down and grab. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is. Is it because they interviewed him at the Senior Bowl? I just didn't understand why he was reaching for him like that. Yeah, like I said, I would hope that we could possibly have some trade partners, and they want that pick badly enough that we can pick up an extra second rounder. I'm not trading back for anything less than a third rounder. No way. No way am I trading back for anything less than a third rounder. I think your real options, I don't think you go offensive lineman at 13. If you stay packed at 13, I think you go defensive tackle or corner. Maybe possibly safety too. Possibly safety. But offensive guard, you only take a guard in the first, I feel like, as if you trade down. Or shoot, trade back into the first. Trade back into the first. Yeah, I think there's a nice list of offensive guards that are available that we can bring in, and we can plug the holes on our offensive line through free agency. And I think I almost like that better than relying on a guard to come in day one and start. Because no matter how good of a prospect you are, there's some kind of learning curve that takes place when you enter the league. It's a lot to get used to. It's a lot to get used to. Would you trade down in the first and the second? I would trade down in the first. I don't know about the second. I don't think I would trade down in the second. I would trade down in the first though. If we decide to go guard. Only if we decide to go guard. Only if we decide to go guard. Because that's the position that I feel that we can get a good top-notch starting guard still in the 20s. Any other position we're trying to address, I think you take the chance of missing out on the player you want to get. Like, say you want a safety. If Malachi Starks goes early, someone's going to come in and grab Emery because they are the two clear-cut favorites at the safety position. So you can't sit there and hope that if you trade back in the first that one of those safeties is going to be there. If you trade back in the first, you can't hope that a top-notch corner is going to be there. What is a position you wouldn't touch in free agency? I'm going D-line besides re-signing Hand or Campbell. Yeah, probably. If I had one position that I wouldn't touch, it'd probably be the defensive line. Because Damien says, I want Macari and Becton if Becton resigns with the Eagles, then Fries and Macari. Yeah, Will Fries is a beast. Will Fries is a beast. But I like that combination, Damien. I do. Yeah, defensive line. I would definitely try to bring Calais back, but you can get quality starters, and in the secondary, you can get quality starters on the offensive line. Obviously, a linebacker. We need another off ball linebacker. You could try Bobby Wagner. I know Bobby Wagner's old, but he's still playing at a pretty high level. Still playing at a pretty high level. What up, Crazy Dolphin? How you doing this morning? Still playing at a super high level. Quick question: Who's gonna be joining the chat for the 2:00 show when I got Richmond Webb on? Any of you guys gonna be able to join that show? Just curious to see how many heads we're gonna have in there. I don't want them to come into an empty chat. Any questions you feel like I should ask the all-time great? I got Richmond Webb on today at 2 Eastern. Richmond Webb career accolades. James Daniels is a great zone blocker, but another injury guy. Yeah, from Pittsburgh. Yeah, like I said, there's a few other guards that are possibilities that you could probably get even a little bit cheaper. That probably are under that $8 to $9 million mark. Maybe you get them on a 1 year prove it deal for $5 or $6 million a year. And we're probably going to add our fair share of 1 year contracts this year, just like we have done in previous years. I mean, that's how you fill out a roster when you're struggling with cap room. You go and you fill out a roster with a lot of 1 year prove it deals for 1 year, $3 million, 1 year, $2.5 million deals. I mean, shoot, we signed Calais Campbell on a deal like that late last year. Appreciate that, Crazy Dolphin. How confident is he on Greer fixing the O-line? I listen, I'm pretty confident that they're going to address it. I feel like they realize that this is their opportunity to fix the offensive line for once and put a winner on the field, or they're going to be looking for gainful employment next year. I think that Chris Greer knows that not only is this is an opportunity to try to save his job this year, this is also him putting on a performance for his next team to evaluate. I mean, the next team that Chris Greer interviews for is gonna look at what he did this offseason for the Miami Dolphins. They're definitely gonna look at how he performed in free agency this year and how he drafted this year. I know they will address it, but will they fix it? I have confidence that they fix it. I have confidence that we have a good offensive line week 1. I really do. Now, it might not look exactly like we'd hope it to look, but I think that we have a much improved offensive line when the season kicks off. I keep seeing UCLA linebackers transfer being linked to Miami. Do you think he'd be a good pickup in the draft to pair with Brooks? Yeah, I do. I like him a lot. I think he'd be a good off ball linebacker. I think he'd I do like that pick. I think he'd work out well for us. I do think he'd work out well for us. But yeah, but that's the list of offensive linemen that are going to be available. Um, like I said, I'd be all right with any two of those. My preferred guys would be Becton and Will Fries, in my opinion. Uh, uh, yeah, that's just the two I like because they're young and they can continue to get better. They're young and they can continue to get better. What about week 15 when and if injuries happen? That's why I bring Win back. You know what I mean? That's why I bring Win back. You're gonna have if Armstead comes back, you got Patrick Paul and Win as your backups. Uh, Patrick Paul obviously the backup tackle. Win the fill in for your guard positions. Maybe you find another. Maybe you draft a young kid too. So hopefully we add. Not only do we fill the holes on the line, but we add depth to the line too. So hopefully we add some depth to the line too. So hopefully if an injury happens, we're more able to fix it. Move down only second round pick, not third. Use your recan and slap the shit out of the Raphael crazy. Use crazy boy. All right, folks. I got a few things to do before I get on with the all-time great Richmond Webb. Make sure you join us at 2. I don't have him for long. I promised him like 20, 25 minutes. So it's not going to be a super amount of time. I'm going to try to get as many questions answered as possible. This is my first opportunity interviewing someone on the level of Richmond Webb. I'm very excited. I think it's a great start for the Fin Posse podcast, and we're going to continue to go from there. I'm going to continue to reach out to people, and hopefully, I can bring you more and more people that you grew up watching and that you admire, and people that you'd like to hear their opinions on stuff. 2020 draft class, only 2 in Austin Jackson still on the team. Shake my head, turnover on roster. Yeah, I mean, that is a problem. That is a problem. Another problem is Chris Greer keeps these guys too long when we yeah, I got you, Raphael. I'm definitely gonna ask that. I got you. Yeah, I would like to. I've reached out to OJ McDuffie. I haven't gotten a reply. It hasn't even showed me that he's like seen my messages or. But I would love to have OJ on. I grew up watching OJ. He is probably my first favorite receiver for the Dolphins, honestly. I loved OJ McDuffie. But yeah, I'm gonna continue to try to work on getting them. Again, the combine's gonna be soon. I got the show at 2 o'clock with Richmond Webb. Make sure you guys show out for me. Make sure you guys hit that like button. TD had said something about doing a episode of the Miami Dolphins Roundtable tonight. I'm not sure if we're still doing that, but keep a lookout for that. And I appreciate every single one of you for turning out every morning. I love you guys. It means the world to me. And I'll see y'all at 2. And if not at 2, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Until then, fins up. Peace.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less. You check as I'm chess, what's happening next? Yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson. He got a new engine from pain, that's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill no discretion. Your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they see me. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try to change, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft, you can change lives, you create thoughts. Never waste time, you got one shot, you got one life. Better pop off, what do you like? Make a dream job, no 9-5, no mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt